Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum viewers. Welcome to our show Weekly Roundup. This is your host Muhammad Ali. In this edition, we will be discussing the incidents which have occurred during the last week throughout the country as well as globally in the light of Friday sermon of Ayatollah Sayyid Jawad Naqvi Hafazahullah. So hopefully you all have been doing fine because the Delta variant of COVID-19 has been spreading throughout the country terribly, and you are all abiding to the precautions of COVID-19. So, well, starting with the incidents throughout the week, first topic which we are going to discuss is Eid-e-Qurban. As you all know that Muslims throughout the world commemorate the sacrifice of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam on the day of Eid-e-Qurban. Generally, it is thought, and people have got that thing in their mind that Qurban means to slaughter an animal on the day of 10th Zilhajj. But actually, the actual meaning of Qurban is a bit different. It means, the word Qurban comes from an Arabic word, which qurb. Qurb means to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, when a human being or a person starts to think to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he faces some obstacles and obstructions. And we know that every person with a good heart wants to come closer to Allah. It's only ill-hearted people who don't think regarding that. But there are only a few people who take practical steps towards Allah. And the obstructions which come on the way, you have to remove them, and there is a specific step-by-step procedure what you have to follow to actually come closer to Allah. Because we are habitual of actually this alamus shahada, or this world what we can see, which includes sky, stars, earth, and all the planets and everything what is in there, actually what can be seen with our naked eye, we can only easily understand this alamul shahada, but it's hard for us to understand what is alamul ghaib. So actually, because we are made up of matter and we have got bodies, and some of us might think that Allah has also got a body, or it's a materialistic thing. It's wrong. And when this misconception comes, then getting closer to Allah might mean that we may take a rocket or something and travel from here to there to get closer to Allah. Getting closer to Allah has got a different meaning, viewers. Actually, it means that when a person wants to come closer to Allah, he starts to develop the specific characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the qualities which Allah has got in his personality. When the personality of a person become actually the reflex of the traits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this person comes closer to Allah. So take the example as we know that Allah is alim. So if we want to come closer to Allah, we have to get more and more knowledge. And as we know that Allah is Halim, so we have to develop the characteristics of tolerance in ourselves. And that will actually make the human being the Mazhar-e Sifat-e Khuda, what we call it, or Khalifa-e Khuda. That is the purpose of us coming into being, actually. So that concept is wrong, that if someone says that Allah is situated over there and I'm also present in this world, actually Allah is muhit on this universe. What muhit means, that Allah is surrounding all this universe, and you can't confine Allah to a specific place because it's opposite to Tawheed. So when we are talking about this alam al-ghaib and alam al-shahada, then there is another important thing which comes, that actually we have to get rid of the weaknesses or the things which are stopping us from getting closer to Allah in ourselves, so we can actually achieve that goal. And there is a thing which is called zikr of Allah. Zikr means it's remembering Allah in such a way that it's present in our current memory. Memory is also of two types, actually, which is actually one important thing. Actually, is zikr khuda. It's actually remembering Allah. Remembering Allah is really important all the time. Whenever we are getting up from sleep, we should remember Allah. Actually, our memory is also of two types. One is called hafiza and the second one is called zakira. Hafiza means that it's the type of memory where, taking the example of a computer, that if some sort of like pictures or photos or videos, they are kept in some partition of the computer, and they don't automatically come when we start the computer. And this is called hafiza. They are only we are only accessing them when needed, but it takes a few steps to reach over there. But zakira is the type of memory of Allah which is important. It is actually exactly like when we turn on the computer, some information comes on the screen of the computer automatically, and you can't even stop it if you are trying to do it. So that's called zakira. And after that, the thing is that there are certain things, as we understand from our mobile system or computer, that which can slow down the system when some unnecessary data is saved over there, or when unnecessary information is present over there. So you have to delete them to actually get the system running smoothly. So it's exactly like us to our heart. When we talk about the heart, it's not that blood pumping machine what we've got in our chest. We are talking about the heart of the soul. So what happened that actually Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was wanting to get closer to Allah, he removed all the obstacles. There were only two things which he had to get rid of. One was Iblis, and on these days of Hajj or Eid Qurban, he did throw stones towards them, towards Iblis, because he was trying to deviate him from Sirat-e Mustaqim. As we know that Iblis is only sitting on Sirat-e Mustaqim, he doesn't have to do anything with the people of loose character because they are already following him. So he got rid of him. That was easy for him. But the love of his son, because as we know that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam was around like 82 years old when Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam was born. So his love was natural. So his love was becoming as an obstacle for him getting closer to Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam in back-to-back dreams to sacrifice his love for the other person, because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ghayur, and if the love of something else, of Ghair Khuda, is present in our heart, then the love of Allah can't come in our heart. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he did put the knife on the throat of Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, he was actually cutting his love for his son. So Allah really liked it, and when Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam succeeded in this exam, then Allah replaced it with an animal. Actually, all the poor and rich, they can follow Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam in that way, that if we can't slaughter an animal, then at least we can follow Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and cut our relations to this worldly wishes, and in that way we will be following Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. So viewers, another topic which is linked to Eid Qurban is Hajj. Actually, Hajj, as we know that Muslims around the world gather in Makkah on 9th, 10th and 11th, and sometimes it can be extended for a day or two. They perform some rituals over there, and they follow exactly the same things what Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and Hazrat Hajar, the wife of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, did on that day. And that is actually complete Deen Hanif. It is actually a documentary, video documentary of Deen Hanif, what we practice over there on the day of Hajj. It gives us some sort of exercise to actually, when we come in the practical life, we are going to actually act according to this. So only and it Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, as we know, that he is role model for all the Muslims around the world. So Allah has provided the opportunity to Muslim Ummah to come and practice that model. And the only personality in the recent past who has understood the philosophy of Hajj in the right way is our Imam Rahil, Imam Khomeini Rizwanullah alayhi. He actually used to say that one Hajj Ibrahimi is enough for Muslim Ummah to get all their problems resolved. So from this we can understand how important Hajj is, but unfortunately what Ali Saud has done to Muslim Ummah is terrible, because they have actually changed the shape of Hajj. It has become more sort of a trade journey, or what we call it a tourism sort of a journey. And even what they have done worse is that from last 2 years they have stopped all Muslims from around the world from visiting the Makkah and performing Hajj over there. And this is actually ridiculous, quite ridiculous, because if the business can be done with all the precautions and the vaccinations, and why couldn't they just quarantine people for like a couple of weeks or something before coming to Hajj and take all the precautions, and should have performed this Hajj? But it's unfortunate that the matters of Khana Kaaba are in the hands of MBS. So now just talking about some like other issues which have occurred during the last week. The one important incident which has occurred is actually Israel has officially announced that they had developed a software which had been recording calls of different celebrities and different ruling personalities of all the countries, including China, Pakistan, European countries, and so and so. That software is called Pegasus. Actually, what it does, that software, that it infiltrates our smartphones, either if it's like Android or iPhone. It just infiltrates into it through the camera, and it records the calls, messages, and all the data present inside the mobile. People used to think in the old days that the countries who have got strong military or strong economy are superpowers, but things have changed dramatically. Now the countries who have got more data are actually superpowers. So what they are doing with this data is actually we have to analyze it really closely. Actually, when the question comes that why have Israel announced actually on the international scale that they have been spying all the countries or the governments or their documents and their mobiles, actually it is considered a crime. And if one country spies on another country and that country in retaliation if attacks that country, I mean, you won't be able to blame that country. But there is a reason behind announcing it. As we have seen that how Israel has blackmailed the GCC countries and the Arab countries, what they have done, that they have actually made them accept all their demands, and the GCC countries have crossed all the red lines and have just actually constructed their embassies in Tel Aviv and have got all the relations with Israel, because Israel has been blackmailing them. So this is what is the purpose of that data. And it's also a fact that we used to think that why is these strong tech companies, they are spending billions of dollars, as we know that Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram and Twitter and stuff, the social networks, they must be spending like billions of dollars to store data of every person. So I mean, there must be a purpose behind it. That was actually the purpose. what they have announced is that now they will blackmail all the countries. France is investigating that what sort of government documents have or government information has been leaked through this recording, and they have done it for a purpose. And our Prime Minister, although he had said absolutely not to US, but I'm not sure how long is that going to last, because his name is also included in those 50,000 people whose data has been actually stored by by actually the spy agency of Israel. So, I mean, at the end we might have to accept whatever Israel or US wants from us. And we have seen this stance from the government, that when they say that if Israel stops like killing Palestinians and give the rights to Palestinians, then we'll be ready to accept Israel. It's just like accepting evil. I mean, if evil fulfills a few conditions, then you won't be able to accept evil, because people used to come to Mawla Ali alayhi salam that when he came into power as a fourth caliph, some politicians came to him and said to him that actually please don't dismiss Muawiyah from the government in Syria, because that will cause chaos in the country, and just put some conditions that he won't do this, and then he should be kept on he should be kept in power. But Mawla Ali alayhi salam said that Taghut is not accepted in any form, and whatever conditions they are, it's not acceptable. And Israel is not acceptable for Palestinians, and that should be the stance of Pakistan and all the Muslim Ummah. So, as we know that when they are storing all this data through this software or the other softwares, they are tolerating some people who are not actually providing them data, like the websites of Muqawamat, who are actually producing some sort of awareness in the people against all these activities by the superpowers and Israel. So they were tolerating them to some extent, but now recently we have seen that US Department has blocked these websites of Press TV and some other websites of Hezbollah and Hashd Shabi and stuff. So it means that they have got full control on this internet, and this is their power. But we have to really be vigilant about like sharing our photos and our privacy information on internet, because it means a lot. And another aspect of this topic is that actually when they have announced that this software was responsible for recording all that data, it doesn't mean that if you stop using that software, or if you do something to stop that spy software, then you will be right, because they must have developed a much modern technology or another software to do the things in the better way. So we have to be careful about it. So viewers, we will be taking a short break, and just stay with us till we come back, and see you shortly. Welcome back, viewers. As you know that we were discussing the national and international issues in the light of sermon of Sayyid Jawad Naqvi Hafizahullah. So the next news which has made headlines on the international scale is the kidnapping of the daughter of Afghan ambassador in Pakistan. This actually seems to be a complete drama, and I understand that there are weaknesses and mistakes on behalf of our government, but actually this looks like a complete failed drama, because in the news whatever she is claiming that she was kidnapped and she was tortured and stuff. But actually, during the investigation, it has been found that she changed a few taxis and she went to Murray and some other places, and she was using the internet during that. So, and it's quite strange. But unfortunate thing is that the tensions are escalating between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Both countries have called their ambassadors from their countries. Pakistan has called their ambassador from Afghanistan, and Afghanistan has done the same from Pakistan. So things are getting worse, but there must be some secrets behind the scene, what we are not aware of. But as we know, that Taliban is gaining power in Afghanistan, and they have occupied more than 85% territory of Afghanistan, and many big countries like United States and Britain, they are showing signs to accept the government of Taliban if like they do so and so things and whatever conditions they have signed in the agreement. If they fulfill that, then they probably are going to accept them. And this is causing a lot of worry in Pakistan too, because we know that whenever there is disturbance in the law and order situation of Afghanistan, it causes trouble in Pakistan, because that's for sure that when Taliban come into power, the opponent groups who are strong in Afghanistan are going to start civil war against Taliban. So Pakistan is trying to stop it. And we have seen a statement from the ISPR representative recently, in which he has said that the terrorist remains, they are getting reorganized in Pakistan, and in some recent incidents we have seen that how strong their network is, because there was a pause in the terrorist activities because of the great work done by Pakistan Army, and they did break their network to a great extent, but it's quite worrying. The first sign which appeared in Babusar that the terrorists did show their presence and openly announced that if the government doesn't abide by the pact which they signed in 2019, then they are going to attack government assets, and they did so. There was only after a couple of days of that, there was an incident in Dasu Dam. We know that's a hydropower project which China is actually constructing, and 9 of the Chinese laborers, they were killed in that incident. Initially, Pakistan government was denying that it's an accident or something and it caused by a gas, some sort of gas leakage or something, but Chinese government came into action and told Pakistani authorities to thoroughly investigate this issue. And as we know that China is a serious country and takes its sovereignty and the safety of its people seriously. It is definitely going to cause some sort of like distress in China, but hopefully it won't harm the CPEC. And the enemies of Pakistan and China want to break the relationship between China and Pakistan, and that's why their proxies are doing this in Pakistan. So, and as we know that these terrorist wings, they are getting reorganized, and the Muharram is also approaching. So it's a dangerous situation for Pakistan, because we know that these terrorists, they get the practice on practice by killing Shia Muslims, and they get the training before going to Afghanistan or doing the big activities. They actually, it has been really easy for them to kill Shia Muslims. So all the security measures should be taken during Muharram, and these sectarian-minded people should be discouraged, even if they are in Shia school of thought, or even they are in Sunni school of thought. I mean, they should be controlled by the government, and public should also act against them. So, I mean, we have to be really vigilant about this situation. And our Prime Minister visited Tashkent recently. He was addressing actually that meeting in which the heads of different states were present. He said that he knows Bukhara more than anyone else, and he said a few things. over there, but there was exchange of hard talk between Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan and Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, in which in his speech, the Afghan president blamed Pakistan for the troubles in Afghanistan, and he blamed Pakistan for supporting Taliban. In response to what our Prime Minister Imran Khan, he delivered a very well balanced speech in which he said that actually when Taliban were in weak condition, we were encouraging Afghan government to negotiate with them, but you didn't listen to us, and now when they are about to take over Afghanistan, why would they actually talk to you? I mean, they have even expelled USA, and why should be they afraid of you? So I mean, but actually this is causing some sort of like tension situation or a stressful situation in this region. And viewers, actually India has accepted that they had put pressure on FATF to keep Pakistan in grey list, and that's what the Foreign Minister of India has said. And Pakistan is trying to highlight this statement by them on the international scale, that this has been done under India's pressure. But there are a few pictures which came on social media that when the Indians or the Indian consulate staff, they were leaving Kandahar because of the fear of Taliban, because Taliban is taking over a lot of areas in Afghanistan. Many people shared their pictures on Facebook, and the Indian public, they replied it with the pictures of Pakistani army surrendering actually to Indians in the 1971 war. So that is actually causing a lot of tension on that scale too. And Taliban are getting really stronger, and as our one of our ministers have said that they are getting mature and they are chained people. They are negotiating with the neighboring countries. They have signed agreements with them. They are also negotiating with Turkey, and they have actually warned Turkey not to take control of Kabul airport. Actually, Erdogan had spoken to Joe Biden that he had agreed that Turkey is going to take control of this Kabul airport, but Taliban don't want it, and they have clearly told Turkey to stay away from Afghanistan. So let's see what happens in Afghanistan. Another issue what we are going to discuss is the Saudi government. What they have actually done recently, that they have scrapped one of the famous rules what the whole world knows in what it was present in Saudi Arabia, actually that people were not allowed to open their shops and businesses at the time of azan, like 5 times a day. Whenever there is an azan, they were compelled to close their shops. But Mohammed bin Salman has scrapped that rule. Now they must keep their shops open and businesses open. He has also taken some other steps to make to actually transform Saudi Arabia from an extremist state to a liberal Saudi. But I mean, what is strange is that, I mean, no one, even in this country or inside Saudi Arabia or wherever Wahhabis are present, no one is criticizing Saudi government for doing all this. Whatever he is doing with their religion, actually no one is talking about it. So I mean, it's quite strange, because he has taken a few steps. What he has done with Khana Kaaba, that he is actually constructed he's constructed a huge hotel near Khana Kaaba, which is Abraha Hotel, which is actually quite disrespectful for Khana Kaaba and the people who claim that we are going to protect Haramain. Where are they? Why don't they talk about it? And why don't they ask him to not interrupt in the religion of Allah? And he's actually has got some special sort of vision, what he calls it, Vision 2030, that he wants to make Saudi more liberal than Dubai. He wants to beat Dubai. And as we know that Dubai has become the center of the international business, and because they have provided all the entertainment activities or entertainment opportunities to the world. So many people from all around the world, the businessmen, they are transferring their businesses over here, and they are coming here to enjoy in Dubai. But some people are calling this vision of MBS, it's wishful thinking that he will be able to beat Dubai in spreading vulgarity in his country, and he's actually constructing billions of a new city on which he has spent billions of dollars, and he claims that he is going to launch an airline which will be bigger than Emirates. So his ambitions are quite clear, but Muslim Ummah have to just get their heads together and just like think about what he's been doing on the land of Allah, and just take some concrete steps to actually stop him like doing this monopoly sort of thing. So viewers, at the end I'll be discussing another public issue what has been pointed out on media, and actually it is the issue of Bahria Town, Karachi, in which there have been several affectees of different precinct who have been affected by the ruling of Supreme Court, and the management of Bahria Town, they are refusing to give possession to the people who had paid all their installments for like years back. Let's take the example of precinct 23A, in which people booked their villas and paid all the installments after spending their lifetime saving, but they have been denied to get their homes because of the ruling of Supreme Court. They have become out of boundary. But in the ruling of Supreme Court, actually Supreme Court had ordered to make sure that the rights of the people who have booked with Bahria Town, it should be they should safeguard it. But the management is denying the rights. So government should take action and try to implement the decision of Supreme Court and save the rights of the people. And this has been an issue in the whole country, that these big building mafia like Bahria Town and DHA, they are out of control, and government seems to be helpless in front of them. So government needs to think really about this issue and protect people's right. So viewers, that's all from this week. Please send us your feedback on the email of Bethat TV, and we'll be seeing you next week. And till then, goodbye.